Hello friends, this is Keith from Essex Recording Studios in England, and today I am with what might be the coolest guitar I've ever owned. This is the Gibson, not ESP, Gibson Kirk Hammett Signature Flying V. Kirk Hammett, of course, from Metallica. This guitar is so special for so many different reasons. And, well, for starters, let's just go over to the certificate that comes with this guitar from Gibson Custom Shop. That's the case right there. So we open it up, and there's a beautiful picture of Mr. Hammett himself. Look at that hair. It doesn't look like that these days. But anyway, let's go over here. So Gibson Custom Certificate of Authenticity. This is the Kirk Hammett Flying V aged model, number 84. If we look on the back of the headstock, I'll show you in a second, it is in fact number 84. So, the guitar bearing the serial number above is one of 100 hand-built by Gibson Custom, where highly skilled artisans are committed to carrying on the company's century-old tradition of creating exquisite investment quality instruments. This guitar boldly reflects the highest standards of imaginative design and masterful craftsmanship. And there you've got a gold signature from Kirk Hammett and Rick Gembar. Sorry, Rick, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. But the head of the Gibson Custom Shop. So super cool, very special. We've got more paperwork. I think we've got the build document in there as well. But let's go over this guitar now. So we know it's one of 100 made. This one being number 84. And all of this aging you see to it, all these little nicks and chips and scratches and aging. If you look at the patina on the hardware and like the EMG logo being worn on the pickup covers, this is all done by design, by hand at the Gibson Custom Shop, which is really cool for a number of reasons. So for starters, it's a replica of Kirk's actual guitar. So it's got the grip tape on it. Let's go ahead and turn it over here. You can see it all there. Put this down gently. There we go. So you've got the grip tape just like his. All the scratches and cracks in the lacquer. The wear along the edges, little nicks in the neck. And here's what's really cool. This is kind of my favorite part. So for a serial number, it's a Hammett number 84. But it's even got his tuners. Like you can see where he would have had Gibson tuners originally and then removed them and put these German Schaller tuners on. How cool is that? I mean, talk about attention to detail. They still leave the holes of where the original Gibson tuners would have been. And obviously this guitar has never had Gibson tuners because it was made to be a replica of his. But that just shows you how committed to detail and perfection these guys are over at the Gibson Custom Shop. So what else do I like about this guitar? Well, for starters, I am a nutcase when it comes to guitars and having scratches on them. I hate it. I want everything perfect. I am one of those guys that like can't have one little ding, one little scratch anywhere. I instantly fall out of love with a guitar if it gets damaged. It's weird, I know, it's not very rock and roll, but this is kind of the opposite. This is so neat because, you know, you could go pay a ton of money for a signature Metallica Kirk Hammett guitar from ESP, who they're endorsed by, and it's flawless, you know, and then your buddy picks it up and he's wearing his belt, puts a scratch in it, and you're like, man, I don't even want to look at this guitar anymore. This sucks. I just spent all this money and now it's not nice anymore. Well, you don't have to worry about that with this guitar. This guitar is made to look like a beaten up Flying V, the exact one that Kirk Hammett owns and uses and has used for years and years and years and years, you know, from Gibson. And, you know, if it gets a nick or a little chip or a scratch in it, one, I don't think you could ever tell, you know, you'd never notice it amongst everything else. But two, that's what this guitar is all about. It's meant to be a player's gigged, toured instrument, you know, thrown around, not put down on the stand, wear whatever crazy belt buckle you like. That's what this is meant for. So when you get to go straight in to it with that kind of mentality, well, then it's fine, you know. And then you actually get to play it and enjoy it. Whereas with me, I'll buy the guitar, and then I'm so afraid of damaging it, it just goes in its case and sits there forever, you know, or it goes on the wall in the studio here in one of those cool guitar grip hangers. But again, nobody touches it, and it's pretty lame. So this one is just awesome. And as a piece of art and a piece of history, the other thing that I'm so excited about is that, you know, look at the serial number. Hammett 084. You don't see Gibsons with a Hammett serial number. You don't see Gibsons having anything to do with Kirk Hammett or Metallica, because while these guys did, you know, of course, they own lots of guitars and they owned a Gibson, and I think Kirk used to play, you know, he plays a Jackson Randy Rhodes. I'm a huge Jackson fan, you know, and he owned a few guitars before they became big and famous and got their big endorsement deal with ESP. But they've had that deal on lockdown for years and years and years, I mean decades. So it is quite bizarre to see a rival guitar company come out and partner up with Kirk to actually put out an official model. You know, this is, as far as I know, this is the only Kirk Hammett guitar ever released that isn't an ESP. So just what a cool piece of guitar history, Gibson history, Metallica history, all of the above. And there's only 100 of them, and I've got one. It is for sale. It's going up on our Reverb site. And in the meantime, it will be here in the studio. And any artists that come in and want to record, you guys can record with this. In fact, I'm sure it might be going on an album here from a British rock band coming up in a couple weeks, if we still have this. So yeah, so that's the back. Giving that a lot of attention. Let me flip it back over to the front again. All right. You know, mother of pearl dot inlays on a rosewood fretboard. Oh, this is just so cool. I'll walk around to the other side again. But that's pretty much the video, guys. I hope you get a real good kick out of this and you understand what it looks like in person. This is not one that you know, polish and buff and treat. This is meant to be aged and beat up, but play like a brand new, awesome Gibson custom shop guitar, which is just great. So now you know what it's like exactly in person. Chances are you're never going to see one hanging up on the wall in your local guitar shop. So keep your eyes peeled online. Check us out on Reverb. And if you're in the market for one of these and you think it's as cool as I do, well, buy it from us. One last thing before I go. Look at the washer for the input jack. It's got the rhythm and treble plate that you'd expect on the pickup selector. But yeah, they've got it as a washer for the input jack, which again, that's how Kirk has it on his guitar, so that's how it is. Leave some comments too. Tell me what you guys think about this. If you think it's crazy, if you love the fact that it's kind of relict and road worn, if you hate it and can't stand it, I want to hear your comments. I want to know what you think too about it being a Gibson, you know, and how they work that out with ESP. I've got no idea what the backstory is there, but I'd be really interested to hear it if anybody knows about that. And other than that, we'll look out for you guys on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more guitar videos coming up. Those two I'm doing here in a minute. So we'll see you really soon. Take care, guys.